Hi guys, today in the workshop we have a Mini Cooper that's having an issue with its swirl flaps. So we've plugged in our diagnostic machine and it's brought up this code here, which is a short circuit on the actuator that controls the position of those swirl flaps. Now there can be underlying issues that cause the motor to have a short circuit. So if it's been burnt out, for example, by working too hard against some carbon buildup that's inside the intake manifold, that could be an underlying issue which has caused this to happen over a period of time. Removing the intake manifold can be a little bit more of a labour intensive job, so hopefully we can get away with just replacing this motor. So first thing you want to do is open up the bonnet and then you can see the engine. So you want to take off this engine cover. It's held on with a few rubber bungs, so it should just lift up out of place and then you can set it to one side. So with that removed, you can see the actuation motor just here above the alternator. So at a first glance, you'll be able to see behind these fuel pipes are the multi-plug, and you can see that there's a few Torx 30s holding this thing on. There's 3 of them, one at the top, one at the side, and one right underneath, which is really awkward to get to. But first we'll remove this multi-plug. So using a tool, we can lift back the security clip, and then it should just pop off like normal. Once that multi-plug's off, you can lift it up and just set it to one side so it's not in the way. So once you're done with that, we can get on to these Torx 30s. The one on the side is by far the easiest. You'll still need a small extension just so you can get on it nicely with a ratchet. This top bolt is slightly more awkward. You're going to need a slightly longer extension and just gently feed it through past these pipes so you can get onto the bolt. Now this bottom bolt is by far the most awkward. You can't see the bolt directly, so you can either use a mirror or, like I'm using my phone just to help guide that extension in, but it is an element going in blind and having to feel for the bolt. And once it's loose, it's very easy to drop, so just be careful when you're trying to bring it out. Once everything is loose, you can use a little pry bar just to release the arm from the motor itself, and then it'll come straight out. Now that the motor is out the way, you have access to the arm that goes into the intake manifold onto the swirl flaps. Just want to make sure that this is nice and free and not seized. So now let's have a look at our replacement part. Here's the part number direct from Mini, and let's take it out of the box, compare it to the one that we removed from the car because we want to make sure that everything is the same. Last thing you want to do is try to fit a part and there's something different about it from the original. You want to make sure all of the securing holes are in their same place, the dimensions are the same on the casing, the multi-plug is the same, and you want to make sure that everything is lined up ready on the car so that you can fit it directly into that arm without any issues. Fitting the new motor can be a little bit awkward or fiddly. You just want to make sure that it's in the correct orientation and that the arm on the motor goes in nicely to the arm on the manifold. Then when you're happy that everything is married up, you can fit the bolts. As I said before, the bottom bolt is by far the most awkward, and for that I've got a little trick. So if you've got a little bit of spare material from one of your gloves, you can put that onto the end of the bit and then the bolt directly onto that. This just causes it to grip a little bit better so it won't just fall off the end of the bit when you try to feed it through blind into the hole. As I said, you can get a little bit of a view from in between, peering between pipes, but it's always not the best and it's very easy to drop the bolt. So this just makes life a little bit easier, and then we can refit the connectors. Now at this point with a new part fitted, it's always good to run an actuation test. So that's a self-test that you can run with your diagnostic tool just to make sure that the part is actually working, because the swirl flaps wouldn't really work themselves until you're out on road test and you can't visually see that. So you'll have to peer in a little bit just so you can see the arm moving, but when you run the actuation test you'll also be able to hear the motor working. But other than that, I hope this video has helped. So if it has, please give us a like, drop a comment if you have any questions. And yeah, see you next time.